Hey, didn't notice you there. I'm Oblivion Geek, and I just rolled credits on Just Cause 3. Let's talk about it.
Wish me luck. Why? You never needed it before. Hot damn!
I'm gonna attempt to give my thoughts during a very snowy and cold hike. So, this is my first time using this setup, and hopefully the audio holds up. Maybe we'll see something interesting along the way. So, Just Cause 3 came out on December 1st, 2015. I've played the first two games and really enjoyed them. So when Just Cause 3 came out, I downloaded it on day one. I remember launching the game on my PC at the time, and it didn't run very well. Along with that, the new mechanics for driving just didn't feel very good. One of the first things I did in the game was hop on a motorcycle, and I spun out constantly. Something about this third game in the series didn't scratch the same itch as Just Cause 2. I quickly put it down. If I could go back more than 10 years ago now, I probably would have stuck with it a bit longer. What a mistake it was to put it down. It's a fantastic game, and I'm glad I finally saw it through to the end. Very quick disclaimer though. I only played the base game. I didn't do any of the DLC content as far as I know. I was perfectly satisfied with just playing the base content the game has. So I want to start with what I consider to be the weakest part of the game, the story. If you came to this game expecting some extravagant, very in-depth and emotional story, you're just playing the wrong game. You play as Rico the Scorpion Rodriguez. Rico's the epitome of an action hero with his endless quips and lust to blow shit up. His dexterity and traversal rivals that of Spider-Man and probably outpaces him. His main goal in the game is to liberate the island of Medici. Medici is basically the game's fictional representation of Mediterranean islands, and you need to save it from the grasp of fascist rulers. That ruler just so happens to be Mussolini. Oh, sorry, I mean Di Ravello. General Di Ravello, that is. This guy gained power because in his boot camp, his instructor drank way too much. Di Ravello uses to his advantage to get into the officer training. This led him to receiving a prominent role in government and ultimately becoming a dictator. He and his army leverage a large supply of a mineral called bavarium. Bavarium is basically uranium on crack. It can be used as a huge explosive, or it can be used to shield stuff like tanks or helicopters. Rico's goal is to work with this team of rebels and take down the general. Nothing really unexpected happens along the way. There's a couple small twists. There's this weird moment about crispy hair. When we play that now.
You remember little Cecilia Crespo? The one with the bad breath, they called her Dracona? This is her bike. Beauty, eh? She made fun of my hair. She said it was crispy, so we play a little prank on her, eh? And it benefits you and the revolution to boot.
And I'd say that pretty much covers the story. So let's get to the meat of this review and talk about the gameplay. Just Cause 3 is just a game-ass game. Dan Reichert of Giant Bomb uses the phrase Dewey game for a game that you just kind of hop into and start, controlling, doing stuff in it. And Just Cause 3 is such a Dewey game. Anything that is even a shade of red, you just have to destroy. Be it an enemy or a fuel tank, it's your target. Rico's favorite way to destroy anything is using explosives. You also have an infinite spool of grappling hook, which is one of the most powerful tools in the game. You can just tether things together and then watch them collide. Helicopters were no match for being chained to the ground, and they rain down quite often. Also, the grapple hook just makes traversal in this game so easy and smooth. Anything you want, you can just pull yourself to it. And combining that with the wingsuit and the parachute let you travel crazy distances very easily, unless you steal a jet. Hopping in any other vehicle is basically a detriment to you. If you've ever played Saints Row 4, it's kind of like that, where they give you superpowers. And with those superpowers, you can just leap over any building, making like the whole open world car aspect very useless. But if you still choose to, you can steal pretty much anything with an engine that's on the island, be it a tank or a helicopter or a jet. You can carry 3 different weapons at a time: a small gun, a medium gun, and a large. Small is more like pistol, medium's like your standard LMG or assault rifle, and then large is stuff like heavy sniper rifles or rocket launchers. You also get grenades and an infinite source of C4. For all these weapons, you can just refill your ammo at the weapon lockers that are throughout the bases. You eventually unlock a way to fast travel around the island, which speeds up some of the travel. The island's huge. You also unlock rebel drops, which can be used to drop in any vehicle you've unlocked or any weapon of your choosing. You get a whole list that you get to sort through, and the game just drops it right there for you. You have a limited number of times you can do rebel drops or fast travel before you go to a refill station and get your beacons or your flares. But basically with that arsenal, your main goal is to liberate the island. The game completely opens up after a short tutorial, and you can go to any base anywhere you want, and you can just start blowing up anything that's red. So you find a town, a base, an outpost, anything like that, you start destroying the checklist of items on the left side of the screen. As you check off things like fuel tanks or statues that you've destroyed, you start to get a 5-star like heat level like in GTA. This leads the military to start sending more and more heavy-duty forces towards you, like tanks and helicopters. And once you check off enough of the structures, you start to see them on your map, which is super useful because sometimes they're hidden away in a corner you wouldn't expect. And once you've checked everything off the list, the rebels take over that base or the town, allowing you to work through the challenges that open up. I'll talk about challenges here in a second. To progress the main mission, you have to liberate a certain number of provinces around the region. There are 3 main regions that you have to clear. Speaking of the main missions, I thought the checkpointing in them were really good. There was a time I jumped off my jet, landed on another jet, blew it up, and then I didn't have a jet. I then had to climb an entire mountain. Climbing that mountain would have taken quite a while, even with the grappling hook. I ended up blowing myself up, and the game spawned me right next to a new jet. In hindsight, I probably should have thought about calling in a rebel drop, but it was the last thing on my mind. I just thought it was very cool that they considered that and supplied me. All right, now I'm gonna talk about challenges. So challenges consist of races, wingsuit courses, explosive destruction showcases, and stuff like shooting galleries. And there's a lot more than that. But I think challenges are awesome in this game because they give you a reason to use either a specific vehicle or weapon that you would never normally consider. You want to get as high of a score in the challenges as you can, because then you unlock gears. Gears are used for upgrading your loadout. Upgrades consisting of stuff like stronger grappling hooks, more grappling hooks, abilities you can use in your wingsuit, extra grenades, that kind of stuff. There's one challenge I really did enjoy. You hook a magnet to the back of a vehicle and you drag it around, collecting a bunch of Bavarium to pull into a pit. Something about it was just so arcadey and fun. Another challenge reminded me of the movie Speed, where you had to keep your speedometer above a certain level. If you failed to keep it over that level, you would just explode and lose the challenge. I found a couple of ways to cheese some of the challenges. There was one sniper rifle challenge where I just hopped in a helicopter and took everything out. Never shot a single sniper shot. Then there was a challenge with a boat. I spent 30 minutes on it, couldn't get more than 2 stars. I had attempted to raise the boat up on top of a tower so I could get a better vantage while shooting with it, but I just ended up moving on. A couple other minor annoyances I had. During town liberations, there's a node where you have to have 0 heat and you press it and then fly around the town to turn every node off. And when you're running around blowing everything up, hey, you have a ton of heat. Going and sitting in a corner just slows down the pace so much. You basically just have to hide until the heat falls off, or it's the first thing you start in the town. The pace just didn't feel very great with that. Also, regarding the heat system, there was a mission where I had to stay in a very specific, pretty open area, and I had to lose heat. It was impossible because I just kept sending helicopter after helicopter, and I would destroy them, but the heat wouldn't fall off. I spent about 10 minutes, then ended up diving in some water. Eventually, after swimming, I was able to drop it and carry on with the story. I was also just not a fan of the default controls, but that's a pretty minor gripe because I assume I can just go in and change everything. Goofy stuff like having the nitrous for your car and a little like boost jump for your car tied to the same key, one that you hold and one that you just press. I found myself in a frantic race or something and I just would press the wrong thing and go flying off the side of a cliff. And while the open world is huge, outside of the liberation zones, there's not a whole lot to do. There's a couple of collectibles you can find, but nothing worthwhile. Now I'm just going to touch on the graphics a little bit. Bear in mind, this is a game from 2015, and it mostly holds up. The explosions are fantastic to watch. When you knock down a giant ball of fuel and just watch it do basically a nuke, it's awesome. I think the landscapes are very lush and beautiful to look at while you're at a distance and flying around. But when you get up close, that's when things start to look a little bit dated. Every city in the game basically has copy and paste buildings throughout it too. There's not a whole lot of variety there. But overall, I was pretty happy with the graphics. I didn't have much of an issue with it while I played. Well, my hike's nearing a close, and I think I'll wrap up. Overall, I think I had a pretty great time with the game. I think the destruction and gameplay of the game is fantastic. I don't think there's a lot of games out like it if you just want to turn it on and mindlessly lose hours to it. I do think the game is a bit long for seeing it through all the way to the end. It just gets very repetitive. It's pretty much 95% blowing things up, and there's not a whole lot else. If you're looking for a game where you can just turn it on, blow a bunch of shit up, do a couple challenges, and turn your brain off, this is probably the game for you. Don't come here looking for story, and I think you'll be happy. And I love how much of a hero Rico is. Look at him save this drowning man.
Oh yeah, thanks a bunch.
Man, he's such a great guy. He's just a blessing to the people of Medici. But looks can be deceiving. What if I told you Rico's not a hero? What if I told you Rico's a monster? I like to call him the menace of Medici. What you didn't see yet is that he tormented that man.
Why me?
Rico has caused more pain for the people of this island than any of Di Ravello's forces. Blowing up populated gas stations, destroying tons of expensive equipment and making the rebels pay for all of it. Sometimes leading to entire train derailments.
Ouch.
He has a total disregard for human life, even testing out new gadgets on people that trust him and he's supposed to be the savior of. He makes public places way more dangerous by setting up obstacle courses for him to show off his skills, leading to even more civilian pain and suffering just for his sport.
Yeet! Gotcha, bitch!
He destroys water, tower, and fuel just because it has the color red on it. He doesn't care about wildlife or the environment. He just dumps fuel into the ocean without a care. One time, I even saw Rico command a rebel to gun down an innocent civilian. Also, Rico's kind of a freak. Look at what he did to this cow. He's just a certified mooey now. I've seen him pull some of the rebels' jet fighters down to their fiery graves just for fun.
Free bird! Another one!
This is what people call a hero. I can't imagine what he's going to be doing in Just Cause 4.
Well, that was something. I just wanted to hop in here and say thank you if you made it all the way to the end. This is all brand new to me, and I'm just kind of learning as I go. I'm sure as I keep practicing, it'll start to come a little more natural to me. This is very out of my element, but I want to keep going. If this is the first video you're seeing, I have my entire Just Cause 3 playthrough on my channel. I'll try to drop it in the description, link it for you. And as of right now, I'm going to continue to upload full playthroughs of games, and then at the end, if I feel strongly about a game, I'm going to go back and make a review for it. Please feel free to leave any feedback you have, anything you thought about it, anything that made you laugh. Post that in the comments, please. Like, subscribe, do all that jazz. Helps the channel grow. I'm probably going to look into setting up Twitch at some point, but as of right now, I've just focused on recording and learning how to do some of this stuff. Start editing as its whole nother job. Here at the end of the video, I'm going to add a couple little bloopers. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you laughed a little bit. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Look at this bridge. If Rico was here, he'd be destroying it. Right here, I saw a squirrel fall out of a tree. That squirrel just fell out of that tree. That's crazy. Look at that. When I see geese like that, I think of Rico Rodriguez. Toss your frozen monkey brain.
Put the camera
Throw it overhand.
overhand.
Yeah.
Wow, that's frozen.
That was wonderful. Oh, didn't see you there. Nice to meet you. I'm Oblivion Geek.